Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. There we go. Lights on. Get a little glare on my forehead. Oh, man, y'all are tuning in for our season finale, season 3 in the books. From start to end with you guys this football season, we are streaming live and direct on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as YouTube. If you're on YouTube, join our channel at Empower TV Network, and definitely like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Also, click on that little bell. It'll let you know anytime that we go live, which we will be going live for other head-to-head things, mostly our news show that should be starting back up first of next month once I finish this damn real estate exam. That should be on Sunday, Rand. So I'm very happy to see, hopefully, this come to an end if I pass. So,
congratulations on that. Pre-congratulations. I know you got it in the bag.
Man, I hope so. I hope so. No worrying in here. Anyway, you don't pass it, just take it again. Anyway, but it was a heck of a ride, man. It started out with most of us chalking Kansas City and Buffalo going back to the Super Bowl. And, well, Kansas City upheld their end of the bargain, where obviously Buffalo did not. But it wasn't too much of a surprise after seeing what the Eagles were doing during the regular season that they had every chance to get to the final game, and they did. So, first and foremost, man, what was your takeaway from the game?
It was a great Super Bowl. I just really wanted to finally, just see a really, really good game go down. And we got that, definitely. I mean, right down to the wire with this one. Super Bowl commercials this year fell kind of flat, way flat, if you want my opinion.
Yeah.
Rihanna, I thought was dope. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was dope, but people always got something to say. Talking about how fat she was, and now they feeling dumb because they realize that she's pregnant. What else? That Andy Reid, man, he's hard to beat. He's hard to beat. You give him time to prepare, he is hard to take down. And I guess my final thought on the Super Bowl is, Cowboy fans, shut up. Y'all didn't do anything. Just because the Eagles lost, y'all celebrating like y'all won. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. So I jumped on that too because, Rand, I mean, after the Eagles lost, I saw so many memes from friends of mine, and I almost say that loosely because they are Cowboy fans, and they're the DSL. Now I'm about to say DSL. DC4L. DSL is a totally different something else. But well, I don't know. Maybe they kind of are. But I mean, they were celebrating. You would have thought that they won.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all still lost to San Francisco. I mean, nothing changed. No matter who won this game, nothing changed your season. You lost when you lost. And I get it. They're in their division, and they kind of giving them a little crap. I get that, but it feels different when it comes from Cowboy fans because it's almost like any reason for them to celebrate. Like I said, my friend was sitting there celebrating the fact that 3 of his guys went to the Pro Bowl in shorts and t-shirts. I'm like, that's not the goal, Yes,
exactly.
Glad for the accomplishment. But he was celebrating it like they were really going to a big game that was significant. It's like being on the All-Star team and saying, oh, man, everybody scored 20 points. Yeah, because they don't play defense. It's just an exhibition. So, as long as things are put in their right context, I'm normally okay. If you say, hey, listen, we had a heck of a season. We didn't get to where we wanted to go. Congrats to our guys for at least their own individual accomplishments, because really that's what the Pro Bowl recognizes, is your individual accomplishments. It doesn't, and we all know that football is very much a team game. So even though you could have individual accomplishments that were really good, it does not necessarily translate into your team success. And we get that, but that's really what the Pro Bowl is. It's just a highlight of individual successes. But yeah, they did act like they won. As far as Rihanna, I mean, I knew from the get-go when I first saw her, and she was holding the belly sometimes she was rubbing it. It was obvious she was pregnant. It didn't take me to see the announcement to go, she's pregnant. I said, they're going, okay, that's nice.
So many people were talking about, oh, she didn't lose the baby weight. Oh, she's just,
Oh, they
fat.
thought it was from the first one. Nah,
right.
I guess because I've impregnated a few that I can kind of tell what's old and what's new. And you can tell that was a fresh one. If you've been in the baby making business like I have, I knew that was a new one.
I mean, not to get too graphic here, but Rihanna's boobs are not that big normally,
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could tell she was, and I could tell by the way she was moving. She did do a lot of the dance steps. She sat there and did, kept up with things, and I thought she sounded great. And it was funny. My mom's was talking to me about it the other day, and I told her, I said, listen, when it comes to Super Bowl performances, half the people gonna love it, half the people gonna hate it. Even when Michael Jackson did it, there were people that hated it. They're always gonna critique the singer and say, well, why didn't they do this and why didn't they do that? Look, Rihanna been around for 20 years, or it seems like. She has a catalog full of songs.
She has a ocean deep of catalog
that she could have done that she could not fit in the 13 minutes, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's where I get lost too. Like a lot of people are, well, not a lot. I don't want to say a lot, but I will backtrack and say some people are out there asking, why is she getting to do a Super Bowl performance? Because she has a catalog of hits that's deep as hell for 20 years. So that's what the Super Bowl
spans that ran. When you think about it, when you've been relevant in any industry for 20 years, that gives younger folks something, that gives the older folks something, because people my age came into Rihanna when she was ooh la na na, when she was doing her early stuff. Then there were some people that grew up with Rihanna as she had progressed. So everybody gets a little something from that. That's a good thing.
Everybody gets a little something from it. And I've seen some people, the campaigning, why hasn't Metallica done or been asked to do a Super Bowl? Dude, Metallica, they are good for a genre of folks.
Right.
But let's face it, when it comes to folks of color, 95% of them are going to turn off the TV and find something else to do.
Exactly.
It's called popular music. That's why they get these popular artists for a reason, so they can appeal to a wide range of people.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, just letting some folks know about the entertainment industry.
Absolutely. Anthony chimes in, says, I didn't like how ASAP Rocky got my future wife pregnant again. Right, Anthony, I'm with you, bro. But she looked good holding it though. She do. That motherhood looks good on her. Anthony also says, I think she signed the waiver. No pregnant women should have been that high up. That was pretty dope. The way that they were on them floating boards, I did like that.
Man, that was tight, man.
Yeah. Some people were talking about Happy Valentine's Day, Randall, says my mom. Well, isn't that nice?
Oh, thank you, Miss Parker. Appreciate that very much. Happy late V-Day to you as well.
Anthony says, give me the thick Adele. She put her soul in her songs. Adele's, Adele is good. I don't know how she performs. I've never seen a performance, but as far as just singing talent, and see, there's some other things with that too. There's some people that are great singers and things like that. And then there's other people that are great performers.
Exactly.
And then there are some people that are actually a little bit of both. So you want to be entertained. So you need a performer that can engage with the crowd, take the crowd in, and be able to keep them going where they really feel like, man, those 13 minutes just went by just like that. I was into it. I remember when Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and them did their thing the year before. And so many of my friends from high school were talking about they done almost a broken ankle in their living room because they tried to do moves that they ain't done, and God knows when, and stuff like that.
Man.
Yeah, I get those vibes and stuff like that. But
you need good Super Bowls like that with, remember the Justin Timberlake when he did the halftime performance. Everybody remembers Prince. That's probably the greatest halftime performance ever. Man.
There's just some people, and to the point that Anthony just brought up. I think a lot of people still don't realize this. He says, "I heard Riri didn't get paid for the halftime, so is the halftime a free concert?" Anthony, to answer your question, no one that has performed at halftime has ever been paid for it. Not Michael Jackson.
You get paid in other ways.
But you make your money back. Exactly. Everybody that has ever performed at the Super Bowl the next day on all the downloads and everything else, all of their sales go up tenfold.
Everything
goes up like crazy. They appear in more searches. Everybody's downloading their stuff to connect with them. I bet you Rihanna had just as many Google searches on Sunday night, Monday morning as Who Won the Game had searches, if not more. I'm sure people were Googling, is Rihanna pregnant, before the announcement had hit. So they get a lot of notoriety for it, but they don't get paid for it because basically this is what the NFL says. Hey, I'm going to bring X amount of millions of people to hear your music at one time.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't got to pay you for that. I mean, they're bringing you all of those eyeballs in one spot for 13 minutes. A huge portion of the world is looking at you. Just you.
Yep. So if Rihanna's concerts, if she was banking 20,000 before, I can guarantee you that's going up tremendously now. She could command a whole lot more money.
She got paid for that. The current baby and the one on the way is gonna be just fine. It's gonna be all right. So I thought it was good. You know, people were talking about the dancers looking like Oompa Loompas, or I saw different, or even some of them got a little political and said, "Why is all these damn Chinese air balloons on stage?" But again, you know, fashion and all those kind of things are sometimes in the eyes of the beholder. What some people see as fashion, some people see as trash, and vice versa. So I thought it was pretty dope. It was more of a futuristic look and stuff like that. And you know, it's funny. Some people go from one end to the other. When it came to Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, oh my God, they ain't got no clothes on. Rihanna's fully clothed, no skin whatsoever. And oh my God, why is he dressed like a man? I'm like, damn, make up your minds. Which way do you want it?
Oh my God, you're so right about that. Somebody dropped in the cooler the other day talking about, oh, she grabbed her crotch. How many times Michael Jackson done did that?
I mean, for real.
Nobody
exactly. I saw that move. I also saw her little slick Fenty ad move when she sat there like she put on some Fenty makeup and then went back to performing. That was pretty dope. Look, Rihanna is a billionaire. I don't know how many of y'all know that, but she is actually a certified billionaire. So she's fine. She's just fine.
I think she knows what she's doing. I think she knows what
I don't think she got the billions just because she sat there and thought that Oompa Loompas might not go well with a performance. But you know, such is everything. But you know, and this is again the NFL recognizing that there are a certain amount of people that don't even care about the game. There's people that go to the game and they're going for halftime. It used to remind me of, you know, I went to West Charlotte High School here in Charlotte, and I remember times, even though the football team was pretty dominant and stuff, there was a certain amount of people that came to West Charlotte because of the band.
Yeah, man.
Now, the band didn't play as long as the football players did, but there were certain people that came to the game strictly because of the band. There were people that used to come to the Thanksgiving Day parade, not because they wanted to see the Santa Claus float. They wanted to see West Charlotte perform right before Santa Claus came rolling up.
Because they knew they was about to see some.
They knew they was about
to get it in.
Yeah. Yep. So sometimes you got to know who your audience is, and you can have different audiences for different things, and they know that there's a certain audience sector that they have that are there to see the commercials, that are there to see the halftime show, and that's pretty much it. And they wrap a game around it in a lot of ways. Some Super Bowls do end up being snooze fest. I knew that this one was going to be a particularly high scoring game. I didn't know it was going to be this high scoring, I called a 3-point game. I said 27-24 Eagles. It was 3 points, but it definitely wasn't the Eagles. But there was also ran a little bit of controversy at the end of the game, where some people felt like the ticky-tack call on James Bradbury should not have been called, not only whether you feel like it was ticky-tack or not, but because of time and circumstance in the game. And now there's this kind of divide between former players, current players, people in the industry, media, and everything else, that some people ride on the side of, if it's a foul in the first quarter, it's a foul in the fourth quarter. If it's a foul 30 seconds into the game, it's a foul in the last 30 seconds of the game. And then there's other people that say, yeah, but whether it's basketball or football, because you've seen it in basketball too, where you really felt like the ref ended up determining the outcome of the game because of a call that they made in the final seconds that changed the whole momentum, direction of the game and stuff like that. And that call definitely put the ice on it, because Philadelphia had already burned most of the timeouts. And by calling that foul and giving them an automatic first down after Mahomes had ran up the middle for those 20-something yards, that pretty much gave Kansas City the ability to just run the clock down, call a timeout at the very end, and let Buckner kick the field goal to win the game. So I don't know what side of that you come on that, with the fouls being called late in the game that ultimately gave Kansas City the game.
So I'll say two things about that one. When Pat Mahomes runs up the middle of the field and say he throws the ball and there's no call that's made, Kansas City kicks a field goal, and I guess there's about 2 minutes remaining on the clock, that Philly has to go down the field and either kick a game-tying field goal or to win the game. Mm-hmm. What is the guarantee that they do that?
Right.
What's the guarantee?
Yeah.
What is the guarantee? Mm-hmm. And the second thing I'll say about that is Bradbury pretty much has already admitted to, yeah, I did it. So what are we talking about?
Exactly.
I mean, it's bad timing. It's unfortunate timing, yeah. But, I mean, come on. Bradbury knew when that receiver was running down the field that he was beat and he grabbed. He thought he could get away with it. It was one of those that he didn't get away with.
Yeah.
It happens in football every single play. Everything does not get called. There's face masks that are blatant that refs don't see. And that's just because referees cannot catch everything in a game that fast. Mm-hmm. They just can't. But that particular situation, I'm not putting that on the refs. I'm gonna put it on Philly, man. They had the 10-point lead at halftime.
Thank you.
They didn't have no adjustments. They did not control the ground game with Sanders and the running backs that they have. And Kansas City got back in that game. You could put it on Philly special teams. They gave up a huge punt return that changed the momentum of everything. So I'm not putting it on the refs.
I agree. Amen. Well said. Anthony came in with some comments too. Someone said Riri Dancers was
I just read that too.
Okay. Anthony also says, you know, you just not even expecting something when you read it for the first time, you go, what? Oh, hell. I say Eagles wouldn't care about the holding calls. Eagles defense didn't show up for the second half, just like you said. And then he said, side note, whatever Patrick got at halftime, I need that. He was feeling like a new man. Well, even before that, though, he did get hurt again, and he came back out. But let me tell you something. And first, I'll say this too about the holding thing. I agree. I think that one call, if the refs can determine the outcome of a game, then you did not dominate that game. A lot of times we leave things into refs' decisions. 1 minute we're getting on the refs for not making a call. Then we get on them because they made the call when we didn't want them to make the call. It's like, make up your mind. Do you want the refs to see the call and call it? Because I guarantee you, if you were a Kansas City fan and they didn't call it, you would have been pissed. So it just kind of depends on what side you're standing on. I certainly remember Dak Prescott damn near running out the clock last year. Now, if you were the other team, wouldn't you have been mad if you said, "Wait a minute, he didn't give it to the ref. They didn't reset the play." You would have been pissed. Now, what if somebody would have came back and said, "Well, we would have done it if it had been the third quarter, but because it was the last play of the game, we felt like that wouldn't have given them the advantage that they needed."
Good
and then
man.
you have Cowboy fans going, "Man, if we would have got that back, we would have had one more chance to throw a Hail Mary into the end zone and win the game." And I'm like, why is that the only scenario? Like, okay, even if you would have gotten it off, you could have potentially threw a Hail Mary into the end zone and would have won the game. Why does that figure into this?
Exactly.
So I get that. I get the passion, and I truly get it. I understand when players, even in the NBA, feel that way. That it comes down to the end of the game and there's a call, but you got to understand too, time and circumstance. All of the officials know the time and circumstance too, and they know that they got to get it right. They know that a lot is hinging on this, so they're going to tighten up, and they're going to make sure that there's no false starts, there's no offsides, there's no holding, nothing past 5 yards, and all those kind of things too. So when they don't do their job, we're the first ones online talking about bad officiating, going to hell, Roger Goodell, you need to be ashamed, blah 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 blah. They get the call right, yeah, but they needed to miss that one.
Yeah, right.
like, come on, I can't go there. So I'm of the same thing. If it was a foul in the first, it was a foul in the fourth. Period.
Yeah.
There was about Patrick Mahomes though. Patrick Mahomes ends up winning the MVP. He comes back out, and he just gave them what they needed whenever they needed, and he was so efficient. It wasn't like he passed for a whole bunch of yards, but he was efficient, right? Didn't throw any picks, threw 3 touchdowns. He threw for 182 yards, but his efficiency was crazy. He was 21 of 27, and I believe at one point he was perfect down the stretch, except for one throwaway pass that he did. So, I mean, the guy was just killing them on that standpoint. It was an interesting game because, Pacheco ran for 76 yards, but Mahomes on a bum ankle ran for 44 yards. So that was impressive. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. The Eagles played well enough offensively to win the game. I think their defense just let them down.
Yeah.
They outplayed. And Rand, I was looking at these, my next level stats. The one thing that was amazing to me was in a full entire game, Kansas City only faced third down 8 times.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat, man, for real.
They were so efficient on first and second down, they rarely had to face a third down.
And it just makes me feel so bad for Jalen Hurts. And I know these are professional athletes and they're getting paid millions of dollars.
Yes.
And people are always, they get paid so much money. You ain't got to feel bad for them. I do anyway, because they're kids. They're not like young kids. I'm not saying that, but they're young adults with the pressure of the world on their shoulders.
Right.
And Jalen comes in here and he plays a very good game. He plays a great game. He almost had 400 total yards by himself, 300 passing,
3 touchdowns.
And he had 70 some on the ground.
Yes.
But the one mistake that he made which was dropping the ball when he was trying to change hands from one to the other, and it gets run back by a touchdown by Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
That play is going to be relived in Phillies fans' eyes for years, and all off season too. So I just feel really bad for him because he played a great game. Otherwise, that one mistake is unfortunately going to cost him in a lot of Philly fans' eyes.
So even though this is a worldwide number, I just wanted to give you this number. 113.06 million viewers of the game. That's a third of the United States.
Crazy, ain't it?
That's a third, right? I mean, literally right at a third, because we got about 330 just in the United States alone. A third. Now, this is a worldwide number, but a third of this country watch that game.
Yeah, you remember the stat that I put out to you guys about maybe a month ago or so, where I said the top 100 shows of the entire year. Yeah. I'm talking Nielsen ratings, the highest rated shows, the 100 most watched shows of the year 2022. Of them, 82 of the 100 were NFL games. That's an incredible stat. The other 18 of those, you had like, I say 8 or 9 of those were college games. So when you're talking about sitcoms and award shows and TV shows, those things are almost becoming a thing of the past when it comes to live television programming of the NFL. The NFL is just king right now.
King. Yeah. That's why they don't pay halftime performers. To your point, I just sat there and pulled it up just to kind of give people a little bit of a taste. But when you look at the top 50 most watched U.S. broadcasts of 2022, number 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, hell, the top 10 is all football except for one thing, and that's the State of the Union at number 7.
I'm telling you,
it goes from the Super Bowl to the NFC Championship game, the AFC Championship game, the AFC Divisional game, the Thanksgiving game, the NFC wild card between the Cowboys and the Niners. That's at 6. Then there's the State of the Union. Then you got the NFC Divisional between the Rams and the Bucks. Then the NFC Divisional playoff between the 49ers and the Packers. And then another early Thanksgiving Day game. But then when you go even further than that, ran between 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Yes.
There's still NFL.
The NFL is
the only thing that breaks it up again is politics. Midterm elections coverage came in at 24. Then it goes right back to the freaking NFL all the way through number 33 until you get to the college football championship between Georgia and Alabama at number 34. Before that, all but 2 events were NFL.
I'm not kidding. I wasn't kidding. I was not kidding.
Crazy.
Yep, I was not kidding. NFL is cash cow and
you hear all these people talking about I'm protesting NFL, I ain't gonna watch no games. Look, I don't think they care once you show
NFL don't care what you do. NFL don't care what you do because they know you coming back.
Every person they lose, they gain about 4 or 5 more people. So whatever.
They know you coming back eventually.
Eventually. You're gonna want to because you play fantasy football and stuff like that. So Anthony says NFL is number 1 in the USA. That's why they're smart to have a USFL and the XFL. So it's football all year long. It does really get you engaged in that. And if you're fortunate enough to be close in the city or close to a city that has either of those things, it's a really, really good thing to be able to get. It's normally a lot friendlier as far as in your pockets, being able to take your family out to and get your kids engaged in things like that, team sports and things like that. So, and because their rules are a little bit more offensive minded, it really turns into a heck of a performance. So if you haven't been to any one of those games, definitely suggest you do it. And there's been some XFL players that have made it onto NFL rosters. So you never know.
Yep, I'm a USFL fan. Go Pittsburgh Maulers. Can't wait till the season kicks off. April 15th. I'm waiting on it.
Yeah. April 15th?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, it used to be after the Super Bowl, you had to start thinking about spring training for baseball and stuff like that, which I am. Spring time's eternal. So hope my Yankees look a little bit better this year.
Right there with you, brother. Hope we can get over the hump. Them damn Astros, though, I'm telling you, Jesus.
Oh my gosh, we need to, people for years always talk about Texas succeeding from the Union, and I'm like, yes, please, because then the Astros can go with them. Like, get the hell out of here, because that seems to be the Yankees' kryptonite. My God,
man,
they can win 100, they can win 115 games in the season, play the Astros, and just be out. Like, really? And I'm already feeling that way about my Tar Heels too. I'm not looking forward to March Madness because
oh my God.
I was sitting there telling my friend the other day. I said, "Man, I remember when Carolina walked onto your gym, man, and it just make you shake inside. You had to play your best game if you had a chance. Now nobody's afraid of them. They come on their court and they're just like, yeah, we here." And they just run them all off the gym. I'm like, who are these people? So I'm having a hard time right now. I really am. My Tar Heels.
Again, I'm right there with you with that one too. I'm not really understanding what I'm watching.
Right now. I'm not. They talk about running back. I'm like, nah, y'all done heard your draft status. Y'all probably should have went out last year when the iron was hot. Shoot, I think some of y'all done lost some serious draft stock. So you might have to play another year, bro. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway,
do you think we get to the Sweet 16? I mean,
it would have to be such a cupcake bracket that they put them in where they were almost trying to help. I mean, I just feel like at this point they really have to play they have to play their best game just to beat sometimes mediocre teams. I don't know what it is. They fall asleep, but they're not the same guys that they were last year, and they're all the same guys. So that's just the weird part. Like, I don't know who they are. Like some body snatchers thing kind of went on. So I don't know. I'm not saying that they couldn't. See, that's the thing about being bipolar. And when you're dealing with young kids, that's the other thing about dealing with young kids. 1 minute they look like world beaters, and the next minute they could look like a bunch of chumps. So depending on if they catch fire at the right minute and they go on a nice run, could it happen? Yeah. I don't think the chances are high, but it could happen. But yeah, it's not a lot to be enthused about these days. Let's just say I'm taking it one game at a time so I can keep my expectations down. See, Cowboy fans, North Carolina got a whole lot of championships too. I could come in every year and say we're gonna win the title. We don't do that.
Exactly.
It's okay to say, you know what, I love my team. I hope for the best, but they don't look like themselves right now. And if they do end up getting to the chip, great. I'm gonna be happy for them. I'm gonna be celebrating. But if they don't, I'm gonna recognize that there were too many telltale signs throughout the course of the season that them not getting the chip is realistic. So,
and I tell you what, I've been a huge Carolina Tar Heel fan. I know we're getting a little bit off path, but it's okay. It's the last episode of the season. But I've been a Carolina fan since I watched UNC versus Georgetown, and Michael hit the game winner. That's how long I've been watching the Tar Heels. That was the first time I watched the Tar Heels, was that particular national championship game, and that's why I became a Tar Heel fan. Wow. I say all of that to say this. It's like I've been watching them for a very, very long time.
Same.
And I have been through some championship moments, but I am not going to sit here and celebrate when Duke loses. I just don't do that.
Right.
So, Cowboy fans, I'm not really understanding you this week celebrating Eagles loss. It's like you didn't win anything, so I'm not understanding that.
Yeah, they were just going way out. I get the first couple of jokes, but I'm like, okay, y'all. At the end of the day, they're still going to win the division next year. You have that to contend with, and maybe it just makes you feel good in the moment, but before training camp, OTAs, and the season starts next year. But do honestly believe that the Eagles are in a very, very good place to run this back. I think Jalen Hurts answered all of the questions people had. Remember, they were a preseason favorite, and the only reason that people weren't rating them higher than at the time the Rams and San Francisco is because they didn't know what Jalen Hurts was going to do in the following year. They thought that the team was built to be successful, but it was all going to come down to quarterback play. And I think he did not only answer those questions, but he blew them out of the water. And I think even the Eagles have pretty much said, money ain't gonna be no issue. We're gonna sign this guy. He's everything that we wanted and we needed. So, they have their guy. Anthony says depends how they do without their coordinators and their 18 free agents. They'll get some of those back. Some of them are a little long in the tooth, and they need to retool and let go of them anyway. And honestly, a lot of them on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, hell, I ain't gonna be pressed to hold on to them because what did you do for me in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that was a little disappointing, man. They did not sack a injured
not one sack on a bum ankle. Patrick Mahomes did not get sacked one time.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What were we saying about free agents? But your core is there. AJ Brown ain't going nowhere. Sanders ain't going nowhere. Smith ain't going nowhere. I mean, you got too many of your core pieces, and that's really what you need. Tampa Bay learned that just bringing all 22 starters back doesn't guarantee a Super Bowl appearance, much less a win. As a matter of fact, they brought all 22 back, and they look like straight garbage. So you don't need to bring everybody back. You just need, and I'm going to give Howie Roseman and all those guys there the benefit of the doubt because they've been on every single call that they've been making as far as drafting and free agency and everything else. So until I see otherwise, the Eagles are going to be my favorite going into next season. San Fran is definitely going to be up there in contention, I believe. Because it just seems like as much as you have a question about who the quarterback is going to be, I don't know how much of a question that can be when they got it done with 3 different starters. And performance did not drop off. Hey, Jay. I don't know what that means. Unless my brother's watching. She saw it. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think they're going to drop off at all. I think Jalen Hurts is probably going to get a contract extension sooner than later. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think Patrick Mahomes is starting to get in those conversations. Everybody's starting to want to talk about dynasties and stuff like that. I'd hold off on dynasties, but this is what I will say. I see Kansas City having a lock on that AFC West for quite some time.
Like I said earlier on Facebook, the water cooler, every time I doubt Patrick Mahomes, this brother proves me wrong every single time. Yep, every time.
This is how I used to feel about Brady when it looked like, okay, the numbers say, there's no way he's going to win this game. He just goes out there and does what he does. And, and at the beginning of the season when Tyreek left for more money and warmer weather in Miami, people were like, oh, he's done. He's done. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I don't think that means he's done. But they were like, yeah, they just went out and got Juju Schuster and Kadarius. Didn't they get Kadarius Toney too and all that? And then you're just like, oh, man, they coming from teams that didn't even want him.
Mm-hmm.
And he plugs them in. And, yeah, he elevates them and stuff. So that was just kind of funny because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, instead of locking in on Tyreek, you just giving him more weapons to spread out. And then he still got his main man, Kelsey, who, oh my God, man, is just rewriting what tight ends are, man.
Can't do nothing with him.
You cannot guard that man. He is a bad man. Oh my God. So and then the good thing about Mahomes is because he signed that organization friendly deal, that 10-year deal, they will continue to be able to spend money and keep good players around Mahomes for the foreseeable future. And he's he's in a division where he's been to the championship game so many times, but ain't never been on the road because they keep winning the division.
And now Kansas City's in such a primetime spot that it's a destination that a lot of free agents want to go to. They want to go play with him.
They want to go play there. That's exactly
Yeah, Philly.
right.
Yeah, you're right about that. Philly is not going anywhere, and Kansas City ain't going nowhere either. They'll both be back in the postseason next year. In my eyes, I just do not see the drop off coming.
Do you think Buffalo's time is gone, come and gone?
I do think they've lost that window. That window might be open still, but it's not as wide open as it was. I think they're going to be in trouble next year from some teams in their own division. I think the Jets are going to give them hell. Miami could potentially give them hell as well. So, and the Patriots too. I don't want to leave them out. I know the Patriots are offensively challenged, but I don't think they'll always be that way. And that
Me either.
Patriot defense is looking very good. So I don't see the Bills winning the division in my eyes right now next year. But of course, I'm gonna wait and see what free agency brings them and what the draft brings everybody, and then I'll reassess at that time. But that window is, I don't say it's all the way closed, but it's cracked.
Well, there's been some other news going on other than the Super Bowl. You know, even here at home, man, my Carolina Panthers seem like that. You know, they don't play for quite some time, but it seemed like that they're trying to get their foundation really, really strong. I mean, I see Deuce Staley coming to the team. You know, of course, Frank Reich's with the team. Evero's with the team. They bring in Dom Capers as a senior defensive. A senior defensive assistant.
Yes.
Then they bring in Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, great mind, great mind.
I'm just like, wow. I mean, he was actually interviewed for a head coach. But I'm so glad, you know, sometimes when you interview somebody for a head coach, the fact that they would want to come to you in any lower capacity normally doesn't happen. So I'm glad that they were able to get Coach Caldwell. That's just, I mean, the folks that they're wrapping up as far as their team. I mean, they brought in Josh McCown. That's interesting for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But just a lot of the folks that they've been able to bring in has been pretty darn impressive. I mean, Dom Capers was our first coach, I believe.
It has been very impressive. I'm just hoping they get this quarterback thing right. You know, once again, I'm hearing Derek Carr. I thought that rumor was over with. I thought he was going to be going to the Saints, but he said, I don't think so. I don't want to be traded there. And he had that no trade clause. So they're going to have to release him either tomorrow or by Friday, I believe.
I thought I think he's already
might have been today.
Yeah, I think he already got released.
Okay. Might have. That's what I was about to say. It might have been today. I think the Friday date, I'm thinking about the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah.
So, I think he
got released.
He got released. Okay. So now he's a free agent, able to sign with anybody. And I'm hearing Carolina being a forerunner for that. So if the Panthers sign him, pick him up, give him like a 3-year deal, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And we'll see where this thing goes. I just, you know, it's going to take a lot of capital to move up and be able to draft CJ Stroud. And he's really the only quarterback in this draft that I would want. But it's going to be a hefty price to pay to get up to number 1 or number 2 to try to get that kid. So
and see, Rand, this is the way I look at it. And I've said this a couple of times. But think about and Anthony says Carr's not good in cold weather. He's going to New Orleans. Well, Anthony, the weather in North Carolina is very mild too.
Yeah, I don't understand what cold weather has to do with anything.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, but to your point, but I mean, the weather ain't that cold in Carolina at all. He'll be just fine playing here in the division. You play Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa 3 times a year at their place. So, I mean, you got those games too, plus your 8 home games. That's 11 out of your 17 games that are right there in the Southeast.
Yeah, and I think we had a 60-degree day today. It's February. I mean,
yeah, I ain't complaining.
It's not freezing. No.
I rode my bike last night. I was at night riding, so hey, they were feeling really good.
Let me know next time you do that, sir.
Oh yeah. I just had that little notion to go out for a little while and do it, and And I just riding all down the 85 and Concord Mills and just cruising
it's
around.
It's about time for us to get one in.
It is. But I think Carr, if you put David Carr as the day one starter for the Carolina Panthers for the 2023 season, he by far would be the best quarterback in the NFC South.
Absolutely. I mean,
I ain't even question, right?
It ain't even a question.
Right. If he's the best quarterback and he is good enough to win the South, you're in the playoffs because New Orleans isn't going to push on you. Tampa is not going to push on you. Atlanta is not going to push on you. Now, if you bring somebody in that is not as good as Derek Carr through the draft yet, because that's a lot to put on a rookie, and you have to rely on Sam Darnold to be your starter, could Sam Darnold end up getting you to it? Possibly. But between Sam Darnold and Derek Carr, who you feel better about winning the South? Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. He's a proven winner. He's proved it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, he's mobile. He'll take off, but he can also push the ball down the field. The guy has an arm on him. So when you've got receivers like a DJ Moore, that can open up your offense. Plus, you already know what you have in your running game, so you can keep using that to balance the game. Your defense has been the anchor of your team. They just need help from the offense to limit the amount of 3 and outs that they go through. I think that is a great opportunity for that team to make some noise for the playoffs and stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm all in. Anthony says the only way the Panthers can move up is trade with the Bears and give them DJ Moore to get CJ Stroud. Well, if that was true, that would make no sense at all.
It wouldn't.
Because then who the hell is he going to throw it to?
They're going to have to give up more than that in order for them to get up to number one and number two.
It's going to be some draft picks.
It's going to be some first. It's going to be some first and second round draft picks, and I don't want to give those up, man.
I don't either. Because I don't think you're a drafted quarterback away from winning your division.
You have some major holes this year. You got some major holes.
You need to address those holes. If you can fill up those holes, and I still love your idea about having another DE opposite Brian Burns.
Oh,
where you just disrupt, wreak havoc, and it does look like they are probably going to the 3-4. That'll sit there and be interesting because you have more speed. You can get enough speed guys to be able to fill those positions. It's going to be hard for running backs to hit edges. It's going to be make life hard on opposing teams to try to run their offense against that because they're not going to know where it's coming from, where the blitz, the pressure, everything else is coming from. So, yeah, you shore up that defense. You plug a little bit more in that line. Oh my God. Okay, Anthony. Breaking news: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hiring Seattle Seahawks quarterback coach Dave Canales as their offensive coordinator.
Okay. So I'm not really familiar with his pedigree of work. So we'll have to see what he could do, but I don't think that's any threat on Carolina winning the division.
No, because he can be an OC, but he don't have a quarterback right now.
Yeah, he does not have a quarterback. In a lot of ways, Tampa's going to be rebuilding and starting over. I don't know. I'm just really excited about this offseason as the Panthers and see what they're going to do. That quarterback position is just key, though, and I hope they don't have to give up so many draft picks in order to get CJ Stroud, who might not work out. And then where are you? So,
yeah. And you got to remember when you draft a guy that high, you almost have to start him day one because the clock is ticking. You remember all of your first round picks have 5th-year options. So you kind of have to know who and what that guy is in that 3rd year as you're starting to look for an extension. So it's a little bit more pressure on that first round pick that you got to get it right. Overreaching does not make sense. Giving away all this draft capital makes no sense. So yeah, stay at where you're at with number 9, get the best player off the table, But if it happens to be a defensive guy, that's fine. If it happens to be a guy that can submit your line, that's fine too. It needs to be somebody that you want for day one start.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you get that. I mean, winning your division. I keep talking about winning your division. Okay, Brian, it's the NFC South. There's 3 other divisions in the NFC. That's true, but you got to win your division to be able to see any of them in the playoffs.
Yep.
So it starts there. I'm not that Cowboys fans that's talking about, oh man, we got Frank Reich, we're going to the Super Bowl. Nope. How about let's get to the playoffs first and then build on that. Let's show the city, let's show the fans progress in the fact of, okay, we're starting here and we building pieces. They will rock with you if they see you building pieces. Nobody's going to come in August sitting there talking about Super Bowl or bust. You're not going to hear that in Carolina. Trust me. I don't care who the quarterback is. But all they want to see is the progression. And as long as you keep showing them that, they're good. Now, you got other teams out there like a Buffalo that has that pressure on them to win now. If they are Super Bowl or bust, because their fans are getting a little they're getting on edge now. It's reminding them of the old days of going to the Super Bowl and not winning, or being good and not being good enough, and that kind of thing. So we're not in that position. So we got a little bit of time, but they do need to see some progress happen out of this team. So the team has to focus on getting their picks right. We don't want to pick somebody this year and 2 years later they're not even in the league or something stupid like that.
Exactly. Yeah, we just had some bad draft choices. I don't want to say when was it? I think it was 2020 or 21, where like the entire draft class minus one dude is now gone off the team. That's disastrous.
That is.
Can't have that.
It's a waste. It's an absolute waste. So, but hope springs eternal. Everybody's 0-0 right now and getting ready for the free agency. The new NFL season starts in about 2 weeks, unofficially, where they'll have their legal tampering period where teams can reach out to players and they can start negotiating deals, but a lot of them won't be able to be made public until, another week or so later than that. So that's how that normally goes. Franchise tags, things like that will be decided on. I'm hearing a lot more talk now about Lamar Jackson, where Baltimore is not as ironclad anymore about holding on to him, that they are actually willing to listen to trades. Before it was like, trade him? Nah. Now it's like, what you got?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level, bro. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, bro. You did that to yourself. It's like, you sitting over there with 2 queens, an ace, and a couple of threes, and you think you got a full house, and you bluffing. You bluffing, and they called your bluff, and you put your cards down. They're looking at you like,
Brian, you had me scared for a second, man. I thought you was going somewhere else, man. You said when you said I'm gonna be honest, I thought you were gonna say I wouldn't mind him here in Carolina.
Hell to the no. No, I'm gonna be honest.
Bro.
I'm gonna be honest.
No.
Keep that foolishness away. If you don't want to see Sam Darnold have to come hiking out onto the field because Lamar Jackson holding his ankle, hell to the no. Let's cut the middleman out, hit him with a baseball bat in his leg, and call Darnold on out, because that's what's going to end up happening. That's what's going on. I'm sorry. I think that at a certain point, as I learned with Cam Newton, those physical attributes, Father Time is undefeated. At a certain period of time, no matter how willing the mind is, the body just cannot do all of those things. And what's between your ears is going to have to be more of a commodity than what your feet and your legs can do. You need to be serviceable to be able to elude, avoid, step up in the pocket, but use technical footwork, not necessarily take off and run. First option gone, second option gone, I'm gone. No, it may be first option gone, second option gone. Let me step up in the pocket, buy some more time, throw the ball away if nothing's there. Or maybe I just gave my deep receiver enough separation that I can go ahead and give him a chance to get the ball. That's what you're going to have to turn into. You can't continue to be a video game. year after year after year. At some point, everybody know the cheat codes. You know, after a while, everybody like, okay, A, B, C, D, up, down, left, right. I got it. They got you. So yeah, you know, I get it, and I mean, but I think he's just overplayed his hand. I think he got bad counsel. I think he's asking for too much. And here's the thing: if the Ravens aren't willing to buy into that, is he really going to sit there if he gets traded? Because does he have a no trade clause?
I don't think so.
Okay, so even if he doesn't, somebody's going to know that we're getting a player that we're going to have to re-sign.
Yeah, I just don't understand, and I know we've had this conversation before. I just don't understand how he thinks that he has leverage here. He doesn't.
None. But somebody's told him you can hold out, and I don't know who or why they would tell this man that. They're not doing him any favors with that. Anthony, you just asked a question, and I'm going to answer it. The team that has the most salary cap will be the most cap space is going to be by far the Chicago Bears. 98 million right now.
Interesting.
So, because Anthony's question was, well, first he said, yep, the Heat is up for them high picks. Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Jordan Love, exactly. So what team has the most to give up for Lamar? Well, they have the most cap space, which that's a factor. You could definitely sign him for $50 million. But now do you want to sit there and make it all fully guaranteed over the next 4 years? Or over the next 3 years? Or do you put in some kind of escalator clause where it's $50 million the first year, 52 the second year, 55 the third year, and guarantee all of that? Or guarantee at least 135 million of it.
Yeah,
and then give them the rest of it as a signing bonus.
Yeah, and I could see Chicago as a potential destination too if they want to come off of
Justin Fields.
Yes, Justin Fields, and go with a veteran that could kind of help them in that NFC North, because the window for the Packers is closed now. And the Minnesota Vikings, who knows what they're going to do, but
yeah.
I could kind of see the Bears with having a decent defense there and some offensive pieces go after a veteran like him. But buyer beware, man. I'm not giving up a whole bunch of guaranteed money.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about, okay, the outside of the car looked good, but it's got a lot of miles on it. You know, it looked like it's new, but when you look at the odometer and you go, damn, 150,000 miles. Oh, but it looked good. So I'm gonna pay twice as much for it. Okay. Father Time is undefeated. You heard it here. I wish him nothing but the best, but I think that he's overplayed his hand as far as what he wants as far as guaranteed money and things like that. And I think at some point he's got to realize that you're just one guy on the team. The team needs to be able to build people around you. And Anthony even says, now Justin Fields with a team around him is better than Lamar. Well, any quarterback with a good core of guys around him not only makes him better, but he should make them better. And they need to start remembering that is that, hey, these teams that pay these quarterbacks all this money don't even go to the playoffs. So what is it really about you, or is it about the team?
Mm-hmm. I've seen that one too.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Jalen Hurts played in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts will make $4 million next year.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott getting 40-something. Aaron Rodgers getting 60. Kyler effing Murray's over 40 million. Josh Allen over 40 million. Matthew Stafford over 40 million. Jalen Hurts is going to get 4. Is it 4 or 8? Something like that. Something in mind. But he's a starter and he's getting under $10 million next year. because he's on his rookie.
And that's why Philly will be right back in the hunt next year, is because they have a bunch of money to spread around to fill gaps in their team. I'm not going to be too worried about free agents that are going to leave.
Even though Mahomes signed like was it a 10-year, $500 million deal, it's still friendly because caps at $50 million. I mean, it doesn't go over that, so he's good.
Yeah,
but and as the cap goes up, his salary isn't going to keep going up. Exactly. So that's why it's friendly, because the salary cap is going to keep expanding, but his salary's percentage of the overall cap is going to actually continue to go down.
And I mean, the second part of that too is he's Patrick Mahomes. You're getting your value for what you paid for.
That's correct. And he's proven to be a force multiplier. And all that basically means is that even if he doesn't have all of the greatest of circumstances around him, he can still elevate what he has on the field.
Yes.
Unlike a lot of those guys. When you're talking about Lamar, is Lamar a force multiplier, or is he just a force?
He's a part-time force.
Yeah. When he's out there and he's healthy, he's a force. You have to account for him. But is he a force multiplier? Well, outside of Mark Andrews, no.
No.
Because nobody knew who the hell Mark Andrews was.
And when those playoff lights come on and it gets real bright, he gets real shy. It's proven.
It's a lot of quarterbacks out. There's a lot of quarterbacks about to get paid. Lamar, questionable. Burrow, no doubt. Herbert, absolutely. Hurts, you better believe it. Tua, maybe. I think he's done enough. Daniel Jones, yeah, he gonna get paid from the standpoint that he currently isn't under contract, so he will get another contract. Yes, get paid like $50 million. No, 35, 37. Sure. Gino, absolutely. Gino gonna get paid more than he had this year. Because Gino bet on himself. Pete Carroll bet on Gino. And as a nice segue into that, right before the Super Bowl, the NFL always has their NFL honors. And we all called it, the unanimous MVP was one Patrick Mahomes. And we also called the comeback player of the year being Geno Smith. And he actually ended up being the comeback player of the year. So that was good. And congratulations, Cowboys. I saw this too. They posted, they so happy of Dak. First, they hate him. Now, because he won an award, that's my quarterback. I'm like, y'all need to get y'all life together, because like 10 minutes ago, y'all was talking about trading for Aaron Rodgers.
God. Now, what?
I've been hearing that too. Yeah, let's get Aaron Rodgers and get rid of Dak. God. Dak just can't show up in the big games. And I'm like, and Aaron Rodgers does?
You were like,
wait, what? I'm like, please make that trade. Please. Oh God. Yeah, the Cowboy fans are crazy. So he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Congratulations to him. Awesome. A defensive rookie was Sauce Gardner, hands down. All of those. I was a little bit surprised with Coach of the Year because it went to Brian Daboll, which he was definitely deserving of it with what he did with the Giants, especially after the whole Gettleman era and everything. I still felt like Kyle Shanahan or even some of the other coaches out there could have gotten it too. But not mad, just a little surprised that Shanahan did not end up coming down with that award. Justin Jefferson won offensive player. Garrett Wilson won offensive rookie for his work with the Jets. So the Jets definitely getting some love. You got the offensive rookie and the defensive rookie. Damn. I mean, your future is bright once you figure out what to do with your quarterback. Nick Bosa, Defensive Player of the Year. Ron Rivera's Salute the Service Award. The Air Player Award went to Joe Burrow for all them high yards he threw in the season. Calais Campbell won the Art Rooney Award. D'Amico Ryans, assistant coach. Now head coach Ryans for Houston. Nick Bosa, the Deacon Jones Award, and Josh Jacobs for the Ground Player Award. So I'm glad they expanded that air player and ground player, because a lot of times the MVP is kind of like baked in. and it doesn't recognize some of the guys that really put up some of those other stats too. So good to see, Joe Burrow, Josh Jacobs kind of get their due from that standpoint, as well as good to see Justin Jefferson get the offensive player because we knew he wasn't going to get MVP. And then some people were like, well, man, it would have been nice if Jalen Hurts would have got the offensive because you knew they weren't going to give it to him over Patrick. But I think Justin Jefferson made too big of a case for that. So
it kind of just goes back to show you that we kind of know what we're talking about here, man. Because when we was throwing out some possibilities a few weeks ago, a lot of these same names came up. Frost, Mahomes.
Bro, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, check. Yeah. Because even Dayball was in our running for Coach of the Year. So, I mean, it wasn't too far off. I mean, definitely what he's done with the Giants, especially the way they started the season. What, they like 7-0 at one point? I mean, they were on a run.
Yeah, they got on a very good run.
Oh, my God. So, I definitely expect them to continue on. Dayball really seems to have, locked in Giants Nation. So, they're going to be heavy to contend with. That's what I'm saying, Cowboy fans. Some of the decisions that y'all making this offseason can determine whether you're going to be fighting for third place or not. Because it looked like the Giants are on the come up. It looked like the Eagles have basically said, we ain't leaving for a minute. And it's just between you and Washington. And if you don't act right, Washington is trying to interview Eric Bienemy for offensive coordinator.
Woo, man, that'll be an important hire if they get that.
And, and there's been some backlash because some people have been like, man, why is Bienemy trying to make a lateral move? And they'll understand it's not really a lateral move because if he goes to Washington, it's more likely than not he would go in as the actual play caller full time. We know in Kansas City, he has split that role with Andy Reid where they both do the offensive play calls. And for a lot of people, that's why Bienemy has not been able to get a head coaching job because the goalposts keep getting moved on him where, he needs to call the plays. And there's like a whole list of dudes that got head coaching jobs that didn't call plays. Even some black ones. Herm Edwards never called plays. Joe Judge did not call plays. Sirianni did not call plays. Matt LaFleur did not call plays.
You're right about it not being a lateral move. I mean, if he goes to Washington, I mean, the opportunity out there for him is much greater than it is going to be behind Andy Reid, who is not going anywhere anytime soon, who is not willing to relinquish that play calling responsibility. He wants that. So I think Washington would be a very good move for him because, Rivera's not going to be out there calling plays or interfering with the offense. He's going to let him do his thing. And let's face it, too, Rivera's kind of been on the hot seat. So
I was about to say that. And he could be the heir apparent.
Yep, there you go. Yeah.
We have another Steve Wilkes situation where if the head coach gets booted out, he'll be right in line to take over as interim and have an opportunity to shed that interim tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Anthony says two things. Oh, yeah, and Justin Jefferson is about to be the highest paid wide receiver. Could be. Somebody's willing to give him more than 28 because I believe that's what Devontae got. And he also says Eric has to leave to prove to himself he can win without Andy Reid. Well, the thing has always been is that you keep hearing from his interviews that they want somebody that's, been calling the plays. And Andy Reid has said that a lot of times the play calling is between him and Eric. But anytime there's a good play, it always gets credited to Andy Reid, even if Bienemy is making a lot of those play calls. So he does have to get out of the shadow because Andy Reid is not going to fully relinquish offensive play calling duties. He's just not going to do it.
Mm-mm.
And because he's there, then, I've done that in my own career before where, I was an assistant general manager and I knew that GM was going to die at that hotel. And if I had any career aspirations to become a GM, I was going to have to move somewhere else and then either elevate or take a promotion. And I remember having to make what seemed like a lateral move, but it wasn't a lateral move in the fact that my ceiling was higher where I was moving to than if I stayed. I was pretty much beating my head against that ceiling.
Yep.
So titles aren't always lateral moves. Opportunities make them lateral moves or not lateral moves.
You got to know your ceiling, man.
You got to. And you sit there keep going, why my head's so sore? Because you keep hitting the ceiling, bro. It's time to go. That's when you know it's time to go. No matter what career it is, I'm giving career advice right now. But whatever career you're in, if you keep hitting that ceiling, it's time to go.
Yep.
Because when you want your money to go up, it ain't gonna go up from the little yearly reviews. I'm going through that mess right now. It's all review time for most companies where they want to give you your little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scores and give you your little 2%. And y'all keep that. I'm gonna give myself a raise by taking on a different position that's gonna pay out more. So don't wait for those yearly reviews. You know how you've been all year. You ain't got to sit down and wait for nobody to tell you you've been good or you've been bad. But if you want your career to elevate, sometimes you have to move, because then you can show, hey, I'm not a system guy. This system works no matter where it goes. Everett's going to have that opportunity down in Carolina. Hey, he's got a resume. He's got a resume for building defenses wherever he goes. Hey, take this defense that's young and hungry, and let's see what you're going to do with these boys. There's going to be some dogs out there. It's going to be crazy. So, yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do. But congratulations to all the NFL honor winners. I think they got it right. I really do.
I do too. Sounds like they did. Yeah,
they did a hell of a job on that. I'm trying to think what else we got going on for the rest of in the off season. So we already talked about free agency starting up. We already talked about an NFL draft starting up. Those will be good to see. Hopefully your teams, like I said, everybody's 0-0. Everybody got an opportunity to do something, unless you're Dallas. No, I'm just kidding. Anthony says, last question for the night. What moment this season have you shaken your head or had you speechless?
Oh, that's a good question.
Close to home, I'm not going to lie. They ended up losing the game. But that pass to DJ Moore by PJ Walker.
That's my speechless right there, man. Just wow.
I mean, damn. Damn. Wow. It was that one. It was so many of these games where teams would be up 3-4 touchdowns and lose the game. It was the game where New England sat there and started trying to do lateral passes and end up throwing an interception for a walk-off pick six. Man, I hollered so bad on that game. It could have been watching Ezekiel Elliott hike the ball to Dak Prescott with the offensive lineman 10 feet away from him to end their season ceremoniously. Yeah. Oh God, man! There's a couple that just made me go, "Wow, here we go."
There's a lot. I think thinking back on it, I think my most awesome Pittsburgh moment was probably the Immaculate Reception anniversary game in Pittsburgh.
Oh my God! Yes,
classic game. Well, I was telling people there's no way in hell Pittsburgh's going to lose that game, and somehow, some way, they pulled it out in the end with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, the pass from oh God, your quarterback
Pickett
from Kenny Pickett to the running back.
Yes.
Oh my God,
man! That was an incredible night. So I think that's one of my highlights as a Steeler fan. The play that had me shaking my head is definitely whatever the hell Dallas ran on the last play of the game against San Francisco.
It's like because I think once that play was executed, everybody pretty much knew that Dallas and Kellen Moore were about to part ways.
Like, what in the hell was that?
You had all that time to come up with a play, and your idea was to have Zeke be the center. Yeah, I don't know how that didn't work out. Before y'all send these memes about cry Eagles cry and all of that, y'all just remember that Ezekiel Elliott was your center the last time seen.
And there's so many memes of this dude getting pancaked beneath the earth and having to be dug back up and pancaked out to the moon and had to be dug back up. Man, what in the hell was that? So whenever y'all feel the need to pick on Philadelphia, y'all remember that play.
Oh my gosh. Anthony says, I say Matt Nagy being the worst coach, but ends the season with the Super Bowl ring. Hey, sometimes it's who you with, you know. Y'all got to remember Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl ring. I just want to remind y'all of that. And I believe that Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis had more to do with him having that ring. So sometimes it's who you're around, you know. End up getting the ring.
Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, he got a ring now. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, lastly, you know, Juju was being a little trying to throw some shade on James Bradbury and had that little meme up for Valentine's Day and said, you know, when it matters most, I'll hold you. And AJ Brown did not take kindly to that, congratulated him on the win and everything, but told him how lame that was and that basically you were on your way out of the league until Mahomes got you off the trash heap off that 1 year contract you got, TikTok boy. So,
TikTok boy.
Yeah, so he's like, so don't be acting like you was ever all of that and everything else. Paraphrased it, but that was pretty much what he said. And he was right. I mean, you know, everybody thought Juju was done. I thought it wasn't so much that he was done. It was that people were wanting him to be what he wasn't, which was a number one.
Exactly. And he's not.
He's not, and he won't ever be. I mean, even on Madden, please get your number one and then put Juju on the other side. So, but that happens a lot of times because, and it's the same thing that teams don't understand. When you have a strong number one, your number two looks even greater. Ask CeeDee Lamb how it was when Amari Cooper was on the other side. When you become the man, it's different. Everybody can't just become the man, and that means that they look like the other guy. Sometimes you look like that guy because you weren't that guy, and everybody else focused on him. When AB left Pittsburgh, and it was all on Juju.
I was just about to say that exact same thing. He was nowhere near number one.
Nothing. Not even close. Not even close. So you have to be careful for what you ask for. You know, they were so ready to get rid of Amari Cooper, who was only playing for $20 million. And when you look at that, that was a deal, Jerry, because even Christian Kirk got more money. Definitely Devontae Adams, Tyreek, all those guys were getting well over $20 million, and you didn't want to pay Amari Cooper $20 million.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it
hurts your squad.
Yeah,
you know, and even if someone will argue that CeeDee Lamb is a number one, okay, I'll listen to that argument. However, who's your number two now? Because you definitely ain't got one of them. You don't. That ain't even an argument.
You don't. So yeah, good luck with that. Noah Brown?
I don't think so.
Is Gallup gone now?
Gallup's still there, but I mean, it's interesting that you have to ask that question because
right. Point proven, right?
Point proven.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Cowboy fans, you know, I wish you luck.
Not really.
But not really. No, not at all. I just thought it sounded nice. And it really didn't. Once I heard it out loud, I was like, man, you know, you don't wish them no luck. No, but anyway, Rand, it's been a great season. Awesome we will season, definitely do season 4 again. As usual, we'll get going probably somewhere in July or closer to that time. I like to try to get 4 weeks in so that way we can review each division week after week as we gear up for the regular season. So we'll definitely do it then. Everybody, thank you for tuning in all season long. Catch us always on our Roku and Amazon Fire TV, not just for this content, but for all of our other content. And yeah, man, great season. Congratulations on everything. And hey, we will do it again next season. I promise you, we will be here.
God willing, see you in July, brother.
All right, man. Last time signing off, Head to Head Sports, Brian Parker, Randall Hargrove. Y'all be good. Be safe out there. Peace out.